Okay, the time is 7:33, and I will call this Monday, June 12, 2017, public hearing and regular business meeting of the Mayor and City Council of Snellville, Georgia to order. Give me 1 second here. I've got to write something down on my tablet. Yeah, I knew that. Okay, we got everything in order now. Okay, we'll start, of course, with our invocation. Joe Lewis from First Baptist is here. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Joe Lewis. I'm the executive pastor at First Baptist Snellville. I'm also here with my friend, Tommy Rutledge, who is the senior adult pastor. And on behalf of our senior pastor, Brian Boyles, I just want to say thank you for all that you all do for our city. My family has been raised here, and I have many family members and friends that are here too in Snellville, and I'm just very thankful. My church is thankful for all that you all do. It's quite obvious that you all do a lot in your planning and in your execution, so thank you for allowing me to come here and pray with you all today. If you all would, just bow your heads and let us pray. Father, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, I pray, Lord, that you would bless these men and women with wisdom beyond their age, wisdom beyond their education, and wisdom beyond their experience, that they may continue to plan and execute in a way that people's lives are transformed and that people's lives benefit from it. I pray, dear Lord, that you would keep them safe. And I pray, dear Lord, that when they get tired and when they get burdened, I pray, dear Lord, that you would rejuvenate their spirits. And Lord, I ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, but it's also in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, that I expect for these things to be done. Amen.
And next we'll have Chris Johnson to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and under ceremonial matters this evening, we have a proclamation for the Lions Club's 100th anniversary. Proclamation number 2017-27. Whereas on June 7th, 1917, in Chicago, Illinois, the Lions Club organization was formed, and whereas on September 25th, 1952, the Snellville Lions Club was formed, and whereas 100 years later, there are 1.4 million members in 47,000 clubs in over 200 countries and geographic areas around the world. Lions Club International is the largest service club organization in the world and continues to help those in need in communities in all corners of the globe. And whereas the motto of Lions is "We serve," the members serve their communities, meet humanitarian needs, encourage peace, and promote international understanding through Lions Clubs. And whereas in 1925, Helen Keller challenged Lions to become Knights of the Blind in the crusade against darkness. And since then, the Lions have worked tirelessly to help the blind and visually impaired. And whereas Lions Club International and Snellville Lions Club offer services including sight, health, youth, elderly, and environment and disaster relief, and the Lions around the world are proud of our history and our 100 years of service. And whereas in celebration of Lions Club International's 100 years of service, the Snellville Club has placed a park bench on the grounds of Snellville City Hall. This legacy project will stand for many years as a symbol of the service provided by Lions here in Snellville and around the world. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that I, Tom Witz, Mayor of the City of Snellville, Georgia, where everybody is proud to be somebody, do hereby join with our City Council and the citizens of Snellville in honoring the Lions Club International on their 100th anniversary and expect our gratitude for their service to our community.
One second.
And if I could, before you folks leave, I just want to extend my thanks again for y'all's support of our cop cab here in the city. We appreciate that very much, and appreciate Chris Banks and obviously the wonderful bench that we've got outside. I thank y'all very much.
Next, we have the minutes of the May 22nd, 2017 meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of the May 22nd, 2017 meetings.
There's a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion of council? Seeing none, I call the question. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor. The minutes are approved. Committee department reports. Do we have planning here? No. So we have Snellville Tourism and Trade. I believe that Gretchen, you're giving the presentation tonight?
Yes, we'd like to recognize our past board members of Snellville Tourism and Trade Association. It takes a lot of time to serve as a board member of Snellville Tourism and Trade Association. Not only do we have monthly meetings to attend, but we devote many hours to all the events that go on in Snellville. There's a lot of planning that goes into them, a lot of time spent getting events set up, of course, working at the events, cleaning up after the events. So these folks have devoted a lot of time, and we're very, very appreciative of their service to Snellville Tourism and Trade. Mayor, would you like to join me in presenting these? The first recognition all know how hard Kelly works for our events in Snellville. And then we have Aisha Cooper, who served as board member and secretary.
That's all? Well, Gretchen, why didn't you get one? You, I mean,
I'm not a passport.
oh, this is only for past members. And who's that? Yes. Okay, great. You know, when it was in 2009, the end of 2009 or the beginning of 2010, when we decided that we were going to stop sending the money from our hotel motel tax to the county, and as a matter of fact, it was Tony Powell who came up with the idea of how to do this kind of following in the footsteps of Lawrenceville, who had their own tourism and trade. So Barbara Bender and I kind of pushed that through the council at the time, but I'll be honest, we had no idea, did we, of the impact that STAT would have on the city of Snellville. I mean, STAT has changed Snellville. If you were here Memorial Day night and you saw the number of people that were on our green for the concert, it was amazing. And STAT has come an awful long way from turning the city of Snellville from a city into a community. Just by the actions that it does and the market on every Saturday morning, everything that's involved under the STAT umbrella has just brought so much attention to the city of Snellville and has made it such a closer community that we really, on behalf of the council, I take my hats off to you, could never have imagined that it would become what it's become in just a short period of time. So congratulations to all of you. A motion to approve the agenda?
I'd like to make a motion to modify the agenda to include action on the approval of the Certified Inc. contract with the Downtown Development Authority and the funding of an IGA in the standard form of the city for $525,000 for the property at 2385 Clower Street.
Okay, we'll make that item E on the agenda. There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion of council? Seeing none, those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor, so that will be item E under new business. Okay. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda as modified.
The motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion of council? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. The agenda is approved. Article 9, public hearing, first reading, LUP 1704, RZ 1706. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to waive the first reading on LUP 17-04 and RZ 17-06 to be scheduled for July 10th, council meeting, second reading.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion. There's a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor. Motion carries. Item B, reading RZ 17-07. I entertain a motion.
Motion to waive the first reading on RZ 17-07 to be scheduled for a second reading and public hearing July 10th.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion by council? Call the question. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor, and the motion carries. Next, we have our consent agenda. This is basically the reappointment of our boards and commissions which expire on June 30th. All these people have asked if they wanted to continue, and they have agreed, so we are just going to do it under consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion of council? If not, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That motion carries. The consent agenda is approved, and we thank all those people, not only for all the time that they have put in for the city in the past, but for their willingness to continue in the future. Now we get to old business. Second reading, ordinance 2017-12, adopt the fiscal year 2017-2018 budget for each fund of the city of Snellville, Georgia, appropriating the amounts shown in each budget as expenditures, expenses, adopting the several items of revenue anticipation, and prohibiting expenditures of expenses from exceeding the actual funding available. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve ordinance 2017 and adopt the fiscal year 2017-2018 budget as read into the record by the mayor.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. The budget is approved. While we're on that subject, Butch, would you like to make an announcement about the hearings for the millage rate?
I sure will. We have to have 3 public meetings regarding the millage rate. Even though it's not changing, there's no increase planned. We still have to hold those 3 public meetings, and we will put the ad in the paper on June 23rd, and we will hold 2 meetings on June 30th at 11:30 in the morning and at 6 p.m., and then we'll have the final adoption of the millage rate at the next council meeting, which will be July 10th at 7:30. So everybody is welcome to come out, ask questions about that. We should have the digest from the county shortly. We'll have that information out to everybody for your review, and those are mandatory meetings that we must have. Thank you.
Okay, next is the second reading, ordinance 2017-13, nuisance ordinance, an ordinance to amend Chapter 26, Sections 26 through 39 of the Municipal Code of the City of Snellville to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. Ms. Linsky.
Motion to approve ordinance 2017-013 nuisance ordinance. Just to offer a little bit of explanation, this ordinance would establish procedures for the city planning department to obtain an administrative search warrant based on probable cause in the event that a property owner refuses to allow a municipal code violation inspection to the city.
There's a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion of council? Seeing none, I call the question. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor. The motion carries. I'm sorry? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that. Okay, it's 5-1. I apologize, Roger. I didn't see your hand. I'm going too quick tonight. I need to slow down a little bit. Okay, then we move on to our new business. Consideration and action on the intergovernmental agreement with Downtown Development Authority for 2270 Oak Road. This is for the old pain clinic. We have purchased that property, and this is our agreement for the intergovernmental agreement that we set up with the Downtown Development Authority for them to, I'm sorry? Oh, I'm sorry, the old police department, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the, no, I'm not. No, Oak Road, I'm right, I'm on Oak Road. So this is for, again, the old pain clinic on Oak Road for us to of course, take the property, and DDA has more things they can do with the property than the city government does, and that's why we do that. So that, can I have a motion?
Motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with the Downtown Development Authority for 2270 Oak Road.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I call the question. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor, 5 in favor? Okay, that's 5-1. Apologize. Move on to section B, or consideration action on easement of the old police department located at 2686 Springdale Road. This is our old police department, and this is for an easement that we're granting to them. We're retaining part of the property for an impound lot for the police department, so we split that party up, and this is just to grant an easement for them to get in and out of that property and to use part of our property for parking and for their Sunday services. So do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the easement for the the old police department located at 2686 Springdale Road.
There's a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion of council? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor. Motion carries. The next is consideration action on appointing Chris Johnson, post 2, as chair of the Arts Commission. Ms. Johnson's with us tonight. You ready to take this on, Ms. Johnson? Okay, I know. Well, we'll give you all the help we can. So that's my nomination. I ask for a vote. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor. Congratulations. And lastly, consideration and action on the surplus city vehicles and equipment. Butch, do you want to explain what we do there?
This is just vehicles and equipment that we have deemed to be too old for repair, where we're trying to maximize their value through an eBay sale, where we declare them surplus, but we cannot do it. We can just, staff identifies, mayor and council has to declare these as surplus.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the surplus of city vehicles and equipment action.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor. Motion carries. Next, section E. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the approval of the Certified Inc. contract with the Downtown Development Authority and the funding of an IGA in the standard form of the city for $525,000 for 2385 Clower Street.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, let me explain what this is. This is something you haven't heard about. This is something that just came about for us this week. But the property across the street from the police department, the office with Thrivent in it, and where Mayor Kautz had her legal offices at one time, we're purchasing that building as part of our town center project. Quite honestly, we thought we were going into this, we were going to have to pay somewhere near $1 million for that property. unfortunately, the owner of that property is in ill health and wanted to sell the property, wanted to sell it on an expedited basis, so he offered the property to us for $625,000, which, with the approval of council, counter-offered for $525,000, and Mr. Brown, the owner of the property, accepted that offer. So that gives us another piece in our town center that we needed to buy, that we got what I consider a bargain price. So do I have we have a motion on the floor, we have a second, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I call the question. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 5 in favor. All those opposed? That's 5-1. Motion carries. Now it's time for council reports. Mr. Howard.
All right, how's everybody? Hello? Anybody out there? You know, as I kind of come to the end of the road, even though it's just June, I thought it would be fun to go back a little bit and look at some of the previous council comments that I've been a part of. And I hope I've always tried to bring the positive side to my council comments. And although sometimes they're a little lengthy and sometimes they had pictures and sometimes they had videos, much to everybody's chagrin, 5 years ago really was no different. So I thought it would be good. Erica has worked hard to pull out from September 2012, I think it is, right, Erica? My council comments. And although I think the hair is a little grayer, although the picture really didn't show that, I just thought it'd be fun to kind of watch 5 years ago what we were talking about.
What a lovely group. Anyway, yeah, I do have some good news tonight. And first of all, we're going to start with the community garden. And I went back and looked at some history and some of the items that had been written about the community garden. And I found this very interesting. This was one of the articles that was written early on. It's not much now. A grassy plot with a brown spot here or there. Trees providing minimal shading. A less than traveled parking lot off to the side. But eventually, visitors to Briscoe Park will see a flourishing community garden where barren land once sat. How true, how true, how true. Moving forward, everything's going great. Looking forward to that. Okay, Erica. I had the honor to be with Robert Burnett, the store manager of our new Walmart neighborhood market, and Barbara Riley, chair and founder of the Amanda Riley Foundation. The Walmart market has stepped up and they're in the community and they're already showing their community sense and how they're giving back. Mr. Burnett shared with me their, pallets of sport drinks going across the street to the McGee Road facility over there to the sporting fields. So when you think about shopping locally, think about all of the businesses in our city that actually give back, and a lot of them do. And Walmart is actually putting their money where the mouth is. So I had a great opportunity and great pleasure to be there this past Wednesday morning. If you want a 40-foot dragon boat, there it is. This is the undecorated version, so you'll have to come Saturday to the International Festival from 1 to 7 at Briscoe Park. That's 1,000 pounds of 40-foot boat there. I helped get it off the truck.
And nothing's changed. 5 years ago, still good stuff in this city, still good people in this city, still great volunteers in this city, as you've seen demonstrated tonight with the awards. So that doesn't change, whether I'm sitting here or not. So y'all keep doing the good stuff, and we'll keep smiling and being our Snellville. So shop local, everybody travel safe going home.
Mr. Emanuel?
Unbeknownst to me, I have yielded my time to Councilman Howard, so I have no report.
Mr. Marmol?
This is for Bobby specifically, but thanks for sharing that memory because it's a really good example of, because I was looking at the date 2012, 9/2012, and it's a good example of actions that were done in the past, like he was specifically talking about the community garden, how it's just a plot of land at the time, but now it's a thriving garden and you guys are basically packed every time they need spots. So it's just like an example to me of positive actions from the past that like I can have an effect on now or other people, and just seeing it in action from before and now, it was a good example to me.
Ms. Lensky?
Along those lines, I'm hoping that the Snellville Youth Commission will continue to grow and be a showpiece for the city. We just hired Chris O'Donohue, and he is going to serve as our new SYC coordinator, outreach coordinator.
Ms. Pender?
Just along the lines of being thankful and being able to see something like Bobby brought up and Roger just echoed about things that we start. We have a dream, we have a vision. A lot of times we have obstacles, and STAT was one of those things, one of those dreams. We had done a community-wide survey back around 2008 or 9, and that was one of the things that came out in the survey, was that people had, felt disconnected. There was really no community about Snellville. It had gotten so big, and you could go out on a Saturday and walk around and not see anybody you knew anymore. And it used to always be everybody knew everybody. And so we wanted to bring that back, and that was one of the main charges when STAT was started, was to bring community here. And they adopted that as their slogan. Was it celebrating community or creating community? And boy, I tell you, that has just exceeded my expectations and dreams of what we could do in this city. And now, you have the farmer's market, and people are greeting old friends, and you come up there to visit people, every Saturday morning, and just all the community events. It's getting people out of their homes and together, and I think that helps break down the barriers. A lot of the things that increase development and population growth and diversity creates challenges in the community, because we're all thinking about other people in groups and broad brushes. But when we can bring everybody together in a place like the Green for fun events, for interesting things to do together, it really breaks down those barriers. And now it's not just those people, it's my friend Jack, and it's my friend Gretchen. It's so people on a one-to-one basis, and it just changes the dynamics of people's relationships. So just really grateful for what STAT has done.
Very well said, Barbara. 98% of the things that I do as mayor are very pleasurable, and I really enjoy them, and I enjoy the camaraderie of the members of the council and the city staff. And then there's things that you do that you have to do that kind of are not very much cherished. Maybe that's not the word, but not comfortable. And last Sunday night, I had to attend the funeral or the wake of specialist for E.J. Murphy. E.J. Murphy graduated from South Gwinnett High School in 2013. He was a member of their honor guard. He was here, that's where I met E.J. He he was part of the honor guard for when Mayor Couts was sworn into office. She had the JROTC honor guard here, and EJ was part of that. EJ had been here probably 3 times as the honor guard, just a fine young man. And he was killed in Syria, a non-combatant death, but a death nonetheless, serving our country. So I attended his wake on that Sunday night, and I met his parents, who I hadn't met before. And I just can't tell you how, I can't stress how much they appreciated the city of Snellville and the people of Snellville for the reception that their son received when he was brought back. And it was a sobering moment. But please, let's not ever forget those who are out there serving. It's a job that, unlike 40 years ago, where 50 years ago every man did it, now it's a select few people that do it, and sometimes they're forgotten, and I hope we're never guilty of that. On the brighter note, tonight you saw we did 2 things about our town center. Our town center is coming closer. I know a lot of times those of you who are here every week, we always go into exec session and we can't talk about it, and you wonder, what's going on. And I promise you, most of that time is spent talking about different things we're trying to do with town center, or without getting into detail. Tonight you saw one of them, and that was the purchase of the property on Clower Street. That was decided in exec session, and we came out and did it here, because that's the way you got to do property purchases. So town center is moving along. We got other things that are on the verge of being able to announce, and stay tuned for all that. Thank you all for coming out tonight, and I hope you have a nice, safe drive home. Mr. Everson just came in. Good to see you, Melvin. Now we'll open it up to public remarks. Anybody has anything to say, please come up and give us your name and address for the record.
Kelly McAloon, 2916 Overwood Lane, Snellville. Seeing as how we didn't have a report and the council won't be back until July 10th, we have 2 major events: our July 4th celebration on Tuesday, July 4th, and our second food truck Friday on July 7th. We will have the council meeting on the 10th, but the 15th, we do have departure concert, a Journey Tribute Band. So just to keep that on everybody's calendar. Thank you.
Kurt Schultz, 2027 Tanglewood Drive. There's been a lot of talk about the volunteers tonight in the council and mayor reports, and you couldn't be more true about all the great help we have out there on all the events. And just this past weekend, we had some great participation, not only by the volunteers, but you all say it's the volunteers that do all this, but we couldn't do it without the mayor and council's approval and help. And this past weekend, everybody was on vacation for working at the farmer's market, and we start pretty early out there, not as early as we used to, but around 6:30, and unbelievably, Dave Emanuel was out there to help, Kathy Emanuel, Bobby Howard, which that's not too early for him, and well, I was out getting ice, and Glennis, and Ronnie's wife, Glennis, she's not a real early bird either, but, even Gretchen wasn't there this past weekend. She dumped it on me, but, and just like to give thanks, especially to all those people who came out when it's not normally in the range of duties to do, but that's what makes the city so great, is that the mayor and council, chip in and, help whenever needed, and, we see them out there all the time. And what Bobby brought up about the community garden, I brought back some memories. My gosh, started out, like he said, with a bare field, and now we've got 48 beds, a greenhouse, entry arbor, calendar garden, beehives, a pavilion, a storage shed, beautiful fence all around. It's just amazing. So anyway, thank you all too for your participation.
Tag team?
The M&Ms are here. Marcy Ferris, 1749 Ridgedale Drive.
Marilyn Swinney, 1832 Glenwood Lane. We're here because the piece of property at the corner of Ridgedale and North Road is for sale again. And I know that we have asked you about it as a passive park in the past, but it was always too expensive. Well, this is your lucky day. It is now up for $247,000 or your best offer.
And you could send Butch in to make a good offer.
Yes. And what I did is I stopped and I got the paperwork. I've got her name, her phone numbers, and you'll be able to tell us what you do in the executive meeting next councilman. And tell us that we now have a passive park at North and Ridgedale.
But we want a real passive park. We don't want any equipment. We just want the land,
The trails,
the trails, and maybe a few benches.
that's all. Okay?
The best I could tell you is submit it to council. The council votes on those things. I don't,
That's what
you know.
That's what
Well,
we're doing.
then you need to, we'll just dump this one on Butch. But bring it in front, we'll bring it in front of the council. We'll see what the council says.
Okay, that's fine. That's all we're asking for. Okay?
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else to speak? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. We're out, folks. Thank you all very much. Another meeting